Pianist Javier Perianes, welcome to Finland and welcome to Tampere.
Thank you very much. Great pleasure to be here.
And congratulations on your new CD. Your new CD was recently released or will be released in some countries this month. It's a CD with pieces by a Norwegian composer, Edvard Grieg. Why did you choose him for your new CD?
Okay, it was a very easy decision with Harmonia Mundi deciding about what to do with the next CD. We had a wonderful chance to play the Grieg Piano Concerto with a wonderful orchestra, the BBC Symphony Orchestra, and the great Scandinavian conductor Sakari Oramo. We decided, why not? It's a perfect chance. It's a wonderful orchestra. It's a top worldwide level conductor. So let's do that. We recorded Grieg last October in the Barbican in a live concert with the BBC Symphony there in the season. And then we decided to complete the CD with some kind of selections of the famous lyric pieces by Grieg. I think it's a good combination about the young Grieg and the old Grieg. And we can show different styles, different emotions, different even weathers or different smells. So I think it's a very interesting CD because you can show a different range of the same composer. And of course, the Grieg Piano Concerto is one of the most famous and celebrated piano concertos in the story. So we're very happy to have this release. It's going to be during the month of May. It's going to be in the States, in Spain, France, UK, Scandinavia. But yes, it's going to be May. It's going to be the Grieg month, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned Sakari Oramo, and of course, since he is a Finnish conductor, we are very interested in him. How was it to work with him?
That was our second time, because first time was in a Spanish festival, in Granada Festival, again with the BBC Symphony Orchestra, playing Sansan No. 5. And I have to tell that the chemistry was like, wow, immediately. He is a great conductor, he's a very fine musician. We understood each other very, very soon during the rehearsal. We spoke more or less the same language. I'm very thankful and I really appreciate that kind of close relationship, musically speaking, that I have right now with Sakari Oramo. We have some projects for the future with the BBC Symphony, with another orchestra. So I'm really enthusiastic about having this close relationship with Maestro Oramo. And on the other side, before the concert of the recording of Grieg Piano Concerto, we had some kind of small tour in Spain with 4 or 5 concerts, preparing the recording, and we made the concerto I'm doing these days here in Tampere, Ravel Piano Concerto and Grieg Piano Concerto. So I cannot say more about Sakari, that he's a great, great conductor, and I think we have quite a nice understanding between us.
Pianist Javier Perianes, since you travel a lot and you play with different orchestras and with different conductors, how is it to, play with different orchestras all the time and with different conductors?
I think we're talking some kind of international language. Music, it's a global language, and you have the ability, or you have to have the ability to understand or to come to an arrangement with a conductor, with an orchestra, about the tempos, about the color, about the balance, about everything. It's not difficult when you're working with top-level orchestras, with very good conductors, and you have some time to reach some kind of understanding with them, an agreement with them about the basic stuff of a piano concerto. Sometimes it's not that easy, sometimes it's more difficult, but in general, I really appreciate that kind of good relationship that I could have with some conductors, and in the base of the music have some kind of agreement about the basic things of a masterpiece, like for instance Ravel Piano Concerto, Grieg Piano Concerto, Beethoven Fourth, or whatever. But I'm very lucky to have the chance to work with such a wonderful orchestras and conductors in general.
I'm interested about the process, like how different piano concertos are chosen for a particular concert. Like here you play the Ravel's Piano Concerto. Is it you who chooses them, or is it someone else who then chooses the pianist to come and play the concertos, or how does it work?
Sometimes it's the orchestra who is asking you a specific piece. Sometimes it's a conductor who would like to play that piece because it fits with the rest of the program. Sometimes you are proposing to the orchestra because of any particular reason. So it depends on the situation. In this particular case, it was conductor who considers that the Ravel Piano Concerto fits very well with the general program that he's doing this week, and I thought it was a great idea, and here we are. So it depends on the orchestra, it depends on the situation, and it depends on the artists, the conductors, the pianists, and the management.
When you're asked to play somewhere, do you already know which concerto you're playing, or does it sometimes come as a surprise to you?
No, there's not a surprise. You need to know with even 1 or 2 years in advance whether you have to play in that week, because the process of preparing that kind of piece is a long process. You have to be ready. You have to run the pieces by yourself at home, play and work a lot on the piece. So it's not a surprise. It could happen sometimes that maybe you're starting Beethoven fourth piano concerto, and suddenly the conductor look at you and it's scheduled the number 3. So that kind of situations never happened to me so far. So I hope it's not happening in the future, because it could be quite confusing and a big surprise. But even in that cases, if you have the chance that you have played before the Beethoven 3, you can ask the orchestra, okay, I'm gonna need like some 3-4 hours to get it back, and then I could play it for the rehearsal at least. So, but that kind of situations are very strange.
Javier Perianes, what is the most confusing situation you found yourself in?
Now suddenly I could not tell you. Maybe one time for one concert that I forgot the whole the shoes and one of the jackets on the hotel, and I had to play with one of the jackets from one musician of the orchestra. Or maybe one time that I remember that I thought that the concert was at 8:30 and the concert was at 8, and I was going to the hall and someone was running after me like saying, come on, you have to change your clothes because you have to play in 3 minutes, something like that. But that's not confusing. I think that's part of this amazing world of the music. That's part of this game, and it's kind of fun sometimes. But I hope that that's not repeat again, of course.
Javier Perianes, you're from Spain. Is it different to play in your home country than elsewhere?
I don't find any difference, because the level you have to give to the audience is the same. It doesn't matter you're playing in New York, in Tampere, in Japan, in Australia, in Paris, in London, or in your home country in a little village where you were born. It doesn't matter. You have a big responsibility with the music that you are playing. You have a big responsibility with the composer, with the music, and of course with the audience. So it doesn't matter if there's a couple of people in the audience, or if there's a couple of thousand in the audience, because you have again the same kind of responsibility with the music you are playing.
Do you think your nationality or your cultural background brings some kind of flavor to your playing? Like, do you think that pianists from different countries or different continents play pieces a bit differently depending on where they're from?
These days, I honestly don't think so. Of course, there is some kind of elements in the Spanish music that belongs to the folklore. And when you play some Spanish music or even some French music inspired in Spain, you should have some kind of rhythm or some understanding about the piece, because that rhythm is in your culture. But even that, I remind you that one of the most beautiful versions of Spanish music are played by non-Spanish music too. I can recall pieces like Nights in the Art of Spain, played by Arthur Rubinstein, but Aldo Ciccolini. Arthur Rubinstein was not Spanish. Aldo Ciccolini was not Spanish. So a lot of great pianists outside of Spain have played wonderfully the Spanish music. But of course, as I'm telling you, there is some kind of inner elements about the folklore that, of course, if you're Spanish, you can understand much better. But if you are non-Spanish, you have the chance to go there, find them, listen to them, and assimilate them. It's possible for everywhere.
Javier Perianes, what made you originally start to play the piano?
That's a difficult question, because everything has been a natural process in my life. I never decided, never ever, to be a pianist, a professional pianist, and here I am. So why should I make that decision now, when everything has been so natural? At the beginning, I was starting to play the clarinet in the big band in my little village. After that, I started with the piano because of an old teacher that I had, and everything has been some kind of natural process in my life. Why break that process? Let's keep going what I'm doing in a very natural way, and let's keep enjoying about this wonderful vocation.
What are your tips for those people who are aspiring pianists? For instance, those young people.
With 36-year-old, I think I'm quite young to give any kind of tips. Then I only want maybe one for them is that they must really be absolutely in love of this thing. This is not a profession. This is not a way of winning some kind of money or prestige or fame. This is some kind of way of understand the life. This is some kind of style, lifestyle. And what I said before, this is some kind of vocation. So you have to understand this like that, not in like another way. So this is my only tip, that they have to enjoy to the life, because they have to convey feelings, and they have to enjoy this wonderful vocation, no doubt.
Javier Perianes, thank you for the interview.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.